Hello students, today I am going to start a new video for class 9 and I will be taking chapter number 1 for class 9, that is number systems. So in this chapter I will be starting with the types of numbers. I will start this discussion with natural numbers. Then we have whole numbers, then we have integers, thereafter we have rational numbers, then finally irrational numbers. So let me start our today's discussion with natural number. So whenever we count anything, like suppose anybody is asking you to count that how many cars are being parked, how many things are kept on the table, how many students are there in the class, all these things we are able to count just because of natural numbers. Whenever someone asks us to count, our counting starts with 1. Then it goes like 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. So clearly we can say the natural number starts with 1 and then it keep on increasing 1, 2, 3, 4 like this up to infinity. Now why we are calling them natural? Because in a very simple explanation, I will say these are called natural because whenever we are counting certain things in nature, we use these natural numbers and counting always starts with 1. So we can say we are using natural numbers to count the natural things, and simply we are saying they are natural. And the other name used for natural number is counting numbers. Sometimes they are also called counting numbers. So this is how we represent natural numbers. It starts with 1 and go in infinity. The second number is whole number. Now, as we know that when we go from 1 to infinity, we will be having somewhere 10. As we are using 10 here, there can be a number before 1, that is 0. So if we start this series of natural numbers from 1, that is 0, then 1, 2, 3 and so on till infinity, then this whole set of numbers will be said as whole numbers. Like in natural number we have starting number 1, here the starting number is 0. So we can say this natural number is now completed by including 0 in it. So this is called whole number. Thereafter, in our day-to-day life, we come across various situations where we have to show negativeness. Negativeness means suppose some value is increasing, decreasing, then we have to use two directions. If something is we are taking positive for increase, then we have to take negative for decreasing. So that kind of situations can be very easily expressed in terms of integers. So we can say in whole numbers, if we include negative numbers like minus infinity to, if we come across -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on till infinity. So we can say these are the numbers from minus infinity to plus infinity. Now there comes a question, what is this number, infinity? So I'll be discussing about this. Let me explain you what infinity mean. For example, if someone asks you to count number of stars, you will not be able to count, but you are able to count certain numbers. Like if we say find out 10 stars in the sky during night, so you are easily able to count 10 stars. But if somebody says count all the stars in the universe, you will say they are uncountable. So in our day-to-day life, wherever we get uncountable like situation, we say they are infinite. Infinity is not a fixed value, but we can say whenever we we have to compare a very small thing with a whole big thing. When we say for that smaller value, that is the whole thing is infinite. Let us take very simple example. If we talk about a water body like dam, if we take out one drop of water from that dam, the droplet of water is a very small thing, and if we compare that droplet with the whole water of dam, we can say for that single droplet, the whole dam, the whole water of dam is infinite. Means it does not make any change in the quantity of water if we take out one droplet from the water of dam. So we can say this is the infinity for that droplet. So here the integers are starting from minus infinity and they go till plus infinity. Here we can say, if we consider this from 0 to infinity, these are whole numbers. If we say 1 to infinity, these are natural numbers. Now if we include these are negative numbers, or sometimes called negative integers. So we can say there are three numbers, and it can be written like this: 0, then plus minus 1, plus minus 2, plus minus 3, and so on. So all integers can be written in this way. Here I am not writing any sign with 0. It means 0 is neither positive nor negative. It comes at the center in the real number line. That is like this. If we write, it is a line, and if we write somewhere 0, it will come at the center. On right hand side of this, we have positive integers, plus 1, plus 2, plus 3, like this, and on the left hand side we have negative integers, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, and so on. So here we can clearly say, see that on the right hand side of this 0, all numbers are positive. So we can say these are positive integers. And on the LHS of this, these are all negative. So we can say these are negative integers. So this is how we come to this topic, integers. So integers can be classified as positive integers and negative integers, and 0 is also included. That is neither 0 nor neither positive nor negative. Now the next thing is rational numbers. So now let us discuss these two, rational and irrational, in a separate portion of both. So now let us come to this point, that is rational number. To start this discussion, I will be taking one example that is related to fractions. So the first question, whenever you see any rational number like 2 by 3, you say it is, why we are calling it rational number, as we can call it a fraction. So first point I want to discuss here is what is the difference between a fraction and rational number. A fraction is something in which we select certain part out of given total parts. Suppose we talk about this 2 by 3. In this figure there are total 3 parts, 1, 2 and 3, and here 2 are selected. It means if we shade these two portions, it is the same situation by which we represent this figure, that is 2 by 3. Here this 2 is called numerator and this 3 is called denominator. So numerator is represented by the selected part and denominator is represented by total part. So here the fraction is having, we can select all 3 parts, we can select 1 part, we can select 2 parts, or we cannot, we can also keep it blank. If we do not select any part, we write the fraction as 0 by 3. If we select 1 part, then we may write 1 by 3. If we select 2 parts, we may write 2 by 3. And if we select all 3 parts, then we may write 3 by 3. But is it possible that we select minus 1 part? So that is impossible. So that is why this comes only in the fraction. But this is, as we are discussing integers, so there should be a value like minus 2 by 3. So that all discussion, whenever we have a negative number in either of numerator and denominator of fraction, that all comes in the rational number. So we can say there is a big difference between fraction and rational numbers. Fractions include only 0 or positive integers, but when we come to the rational numbers, they are negative as well. So we can say rational numbers. Now let us come to the definition of rational number. Clearly it is in form of numerator upon denominator. Numerator upon denominator. So we can say if the numerator is p and the denominator is q. So by using this, if we come to the definition of rational number, so the rational numbers are the numbers to which we can represent in form of numerator upon denominator, or we can say in form of p by q. Now clearly, as you know, in fraction also, if we are writing p by q, it means p divided by q, and in division the divisor is q, and this value we cannot keep 0. So here we have to put one condition, that is q is not equals to 0. So as a whole we can say numbers which can be represented in form of p by q, where p and q are integers and q is not equals to 0, as we have discussed here. So this is the complete definition of a rational number. If we talk about examples, so there are very simple examples like minus 2 by 3, as we have discussed just now. 0 is a rational number, as we can write 0 upon 1. 3 by 7, these all are example of rational numbers. So this is the definition of rational number. Now moving further, the next number which is very new for you all, as you know that till your class 8 you must have gone through all these numbers which I have discussed till now in this lecture. Now let us come to a new definition, that is irrational number. In simple terms, we can say the irrational numbers are numbers which are not rational. Numbers which are not rational. Now we have discussed the definition of rational number. Here we are using not rational. It means the numbers which we are able to write in p by q form. They are rational, but we are writing not here before rational. So we can say the correct definition of rational number will be numbers which can't be expressed in form p by q, where p and q are integers and q is not equals to 0. So if I would like to explain this definition in Hindi, irrational numbers वो नंबर होते हैं जिनको हम रेशनल फॉर्म, जो कि a अपॉन बी और p अपॉन q, जिसको हम न्यूमरेटर अपॉन डिनोमिनेटर फॉर्म में नहीं लिख सकते हैं, वैसे नंबर्स को हम इरेशनल नंबर्स बोलते हैं. सो दिस इज द डेफिनेशन, द नंबर्स व्हिच कांट बी एक्सप्रेस्ड इन फॉर्म p by q, where p and q are integers and q is not equals to 0. Now certain examples of irrational numbers. The most common is pi, that is we write pi. Pi is an irrational number. It is a surprising thing that pi is irrational, as you know that pi is written as 22 by 7. Then how can it be an irrational number? That I will discuss later. Actually that 22 by 7 we cannot keep as rational. There is certain reason. Then whenever I will discuss the decimal expansion of rational and irrational, I will discuss this point there. Then other examples, if we write any prime number in the radical sign like root 2, root with 2, root 3, root 5, root 7, all these are examples of irrational numbers. So this is all about the introduction part of this chapter. So clearly there are total numbers which you have gone through, and this one is the first thing which is new for you all, that is irrational number. Let me explain it once again. In Hindi I am explaining first. ऐसे numbers जिनको हम p by q के फॉर्म में नहीं लिख पाते हैं उनको हम irrational numbers बोलते हैं. The numbers which can't be expressed in the form of p by q, where p and q are integers and q is not equals to 0, are irrational numbers. The examples: pi, root 2, root 3, root 5, all prime numbers under radical sign, root sign. This comes in the irrational numbers. So this is all about the introduction part of this chapter. Now the questions may be like, first of all we'll discuss about rational number only, and suppose if there is a question, find three rational numbers between 2 and 4. Suppose this is the question. Now as we can say 2 and 4, there is only one integer in between, that is 3, but we need here 3 rational numbers. So we have to work on it to find out more rational numbers. As you know, rational number is a number which can be expressed in form of p by q. Clearly we can also write 2 and 4 as 2 upon 1 and 4 upon 1. Now how many numbers we want? Here we need 3 numbers. So clearly we need 3, and it is only possible to write 3 in between. So what we are going to do, we will find out equivalent of 2 upon 1 and 4 upon 1 by multiplying a number which will be same in case of first and second number. So here when we need 3 numbers, we have to multiply it with 3 plus 1. That is, if we want to insert n numbers between two given rational numbers, n numbers between two given rational numbers, then what we have to do? Multiply n plus 1 with both the numbers. If we multiply n plus 1 with both the numbers, then we will be able to find out the required number of rational numbers in between those numbers. So this is the method, that if we need n numbers in between any two rational number, given rational numbers, then we have to multiply by n plus 1 in both the numbers. So here in this particular question we have to multiply it with 3. It is 3, so we have to multiply it with 3 plus 1, that is 4. So we will multiply 4 in the denominators as well as in the numerator. So by doing this we are getting a number 8 upon 4, and here 16 upon 4. Now as you know that the denominator is same, so we can easily compare the numerators. And in between, as earlier we were getting only 3 in between, now there are many numbers, like we can write 9 by 4, 10 by 4, 11 by 4, 12 by 4, 13 divided by 4, 14 divided by 4, and 15 divided by 4. And how much we get? Only 3. So out of these many numbers we can use any 3. But there might be a question in your mind, the numbers will not come like 2 and 4 every time. Now suppose we have 2 upon 5 and 3 upon 4. Now we want to insert two rational numbers in between these. Now the problem is that in this earlier question there was no denominator, so we have written 1. By default we can write 1 in the denominator of any integer. But here it is not 1 and they are unequal. So first thing which we have to do is we have to make them equal. So for this purpose we will be multiplying the denominator interchangeably. Means we have to multiply the denominators to the denominator of other number. Like here we have 5, so that we will multiply in second, and here we have 4, that I have multiplied in the first number. So here I am getting 8 upon 20 and 15 by 20. So here I can say now the denominator is 20, that is equal. If we need two numbers, it is very much possible, like 8 by 20, so the next number will be 9 by 20, 10 by 20. So this is how we do this kind of question. So if I summarize this, if we have simple numbers with the same denominator as we get integers, then we can simply write 2 upon 1 or 4 upon 1. Then we have to find out 3 numbers, so we have to multiply by 4. Here, without any multiplication, we are able to find out 2 numbers in between this. So we have not gone for this step, but if required, we can again multiply by the same integer in both the numbers. So if I want to summarize this, there is a very simple thing. If we want to insert any number in between given two rational numbers, then it can be 100, it can be 1000. Then that can be easily done by multiplying with the required number plus 1 in both the rational numbers. Then we can multiply and get the equivalent rational numbers and simply find out the required numbers in between. If the denominator is different, then we have to multiply the denominators of those two numbers with each other. Finally, we will get the denominator same. Now again, if we are not able to, suppose the question is find 100 rational numbers in between 2 upon 5 and 3 upon 4. Then we have to again multiply, because we are not getting 100 numbers in between. So we have to multiply by some other number now. As I told you that we have to multiply by n plus 1. So it is very simple to do. So let me explain it again. अगर हमारे पास कोई क्वेश्चन है, हमको कोई दो दिए गए रेशनल नंबर्स के बीच में कितनी भी संख्या में अगर हमको रेशनल नंबर्स फाइंड आउट करना है, तो हम क्या करेंगे, डिनोमिनेटर अगर सेम है तो हम डायरेक्टली उसको आगे प्रोसीड करेंगे. अगर डिनोमिनेटर सेम नहीं तो पहले हम डिनोमिनेटर सेम करने का काम करेंगे. उसके लिए हमको जो भी डिनोमिनेटर इन दोनों नंबर के होंगे उस डिनोमिनेटर को आप एक दूसरे नंबर में मल्टीप्लाई कर देंगे. जैसे इस क्वेश्चन में डिनोमिनेटर 5 और 4 है, तो 5 हमने दूसरे वाले नंबर में मल्टीप्लाई किया और 4 जो है हमने फर्स्ट वाले में किया. सो इस इन दिस वे the denominator is 20, then we are able to calculate the numbers in between. But अगर डिनोमिनेटर कुछ भी नहीं है तो हम डिनोमिनेटर 1 लिख सकते हैं. सो दिस इज सेम. अगर ये सेम है तो हम डायरेक्टली नेक्स्ट स्टेप के लिए जा सकते हैं. जब हमको किसी नंबर से मल्टीप्लाई करना पड़े तो हम वो नंबर दोनों ही रेशनल नंबर में मल्टीप्लाई करके इक्विवेलेंट निकालेंगे. और इक्विवेलेंट निकालने के बाद आप जो भी जितने भी आपसे रेशनल नंबर्स इन दोनों रेशनल नंबर्स के बीच में पूछे गए हो, आप इसको लिख सकते हैं. सो दिस इज ऑल अबाउट रेशनल नंबर्स. थैंक यू. So now in this chapter I am going to discuss representation of irrational number. Representation of irrational numbers on number line. So in this topic, before going to discuss this, I have to discuss one really important theorem in maths, that is Pythagoras theorem, which you must be knowing as you have used it in your previous 7th and 8th classes. So the theorem that I want to discuss here, because we have to use that in the above discussion. So let us discuss about this. First thing is, this is applicable to only right angle triangle. In a right angle triangle, we can write the square of hypotenuse is equals to the square of hypotenuse is equals to the sum of squares of remaining two sides. These remaining two sides are, if hypotenuse is here, the remaining two sides is base and perpendicular. So what is the definition of Pythagoras theorem? The statement of this theorem is, in a right angle triangle, this is really important because it is not applicable in some other triangles, other types of triangle. So in a right angle triangle, the square of hypotenuse is equals to the sum of squares of remaining two sides. So we can say, let us come explain. We must understand this by using a figure. So that will be better to discuss. Even in Hindi, I would say Pythagoras theorem के अंदर कोई भी किसी भी राइट एंगल ट्रायंगल में हाइपोटेन्यूज का स्क्वायर बाकी बची हुई दोनों साइड्स के स्क्वायर के सम के बराबर होता है. सो नाउ लेट अस कम we will understand this by using a figure of triangle. Suppose there is a triangle which is right angle at B, ABC triangle, right angle at B. Here clearly this AC is hypotenuse, this BC is base, and this AB is perpendicular. So clearly we can say, as we have discussed in the statement, the square of hypotenuse is equals to the sum of squares of remaining two sides. So according to that we can write AC square is equals to, AC is hypotenuse and hypotenuse is the side which is the longest side of right angle triangle, and it is always opposite to the right angle in it. So if the angle B is right angle, then the opposite side, that is opposite side to this right angle is AC, and this will be the hypotenuse, and this will be the longest side of this triangle. Now the square of this AC is equals to the sum of squares of remaining two sides. The remaining two sides are AB and BC. So we can write AB square plus BC square. In other terms, we can write, if we call it hypotenuse H, base B and perpendicular as P, we can write H square is equals to P square plus B square. So this is the other form of this theorem. So clearly hypotenuse का स्क्वायर परपेंडिकुलर और बेस के स्क्वायर के सम के बराबर होता है. ये पाइथागोरस थ्योरम हमको सिखाती है. So now let us come to our main discussion, that is representation of irrational number. So you must have gone through this. So now let us come to the main topic, that is representation of irrational number. Now let us take very simple example to understand. The question is, represent √2 on number line. We will start with very simple irrational number, that is √2. Now to represent this, we will be using a right angle triangle, and we will find out certain results. Like suppose we have a right angle triangle in which this angle is right angle, and if we let us suppose the base and perpendicular is 1 unit, then what will be the value of hypotenuse? Now let us find out this. Suppose base is 1, perpendicular is 1, we have to find out hypotenuse. So by applying Pythagoras theorem, we can write H square is equals to P square plus B square. So what we are getting, H square, P and B both are 1 each, so 1 square plus 1 square, that we get 1 plus 1, that is 2. So the H square is coming out to be 2. So as you must have, as you know this, that when we need only value out of this square, what we have to do? Square root. You must have studied in your previous class, that is 8th class. So we will be taking the square root of this. So we will get h from here. H is equals to root 2, and this is the number which we want to represent on number line. Now this is quite useful to use this triangle as. Now what I am going to do is, I will be placing this triangle on the number line, where I will be taking this base, let us call it AB. This base I will be taking as 1 unit on the number line, and again I will put a perpendicular AC on this base AB, and again I will take it as 1. Then we will use this hypotenuse there to prove root 2, because we are getting this hypotenuse as root 2 here. So I will be able to represent root 2 on number line. So I hope this discussion is very much clear to you all. So now let us put this triangle with 1 and 1 base and perpendicular on the real number line. So as you know, the real number line is a line like this. Let us write it 0 here. As we know, there is a right hand side and left hand side on it. So we will be writing this way, and here we have negative integers. So in this we can write it as, let us suppose take 0 to 1 is 1 unit. This is 1 unit distance. Now put one perpendicular which will make angle 90 degree here. So this length is again 1. Now if we join this with this point, what will be the length of this much, this length? As we have discussed in the earlier part of this topic, if it is 1 and this one is also 1, this will come out to be root 2. Now what we have to do, you will be using your protractor, will keep it at 0, and whatever length it is, this is root 2, we will just draw one arc from this, we will keep the fixed end at 0, and we will draw an arc from this point like this, which will cross the number line, real number line at some point. And now this distance from 0 to this point, this will be root 2. So we can say this point where this arc will intersect the line will represent root 2 on the number line. This is how we represent root 2 on number line. Now this is a very simple question. Now let us suppose someone wants to represent root 3 on number line. Then what we have to do? Now we'll come to that point. I am going to explain it again. जैसा कि अभी हमने देखा कि पाइथागोरस थ्योरम में बेस और परपेंडिकुलर अगर हम 1 यूनिट ले लें तो हाइपोटेन्यूज की लेंथ रूट 2 आती है. तो वही कॉन्सेप्ट मैंने यहाँ यूज किया है. नंबर लाइन के ऊपर हमने 0 से 1 में 1 यूनिट डिस्टेंस लिया और इसी 1 के पास आपने एक परपेंडिकुलर ड्रॉ किया जिसकी लंबाई थी 1 थी. जब हम इसका हाइपोटेन्यूज बनाएंगे, क्योंकि बेस और परपेंडिकुलर दोनों ही 1 यूनिट है, तो जो हाइपोटेन्यूज है उसकी लेंथ रूट 2 आएगी. अब हमने क्या किया, 0 से इस लेंथ को नापकर एक आर्क बनाई जो कि नंबर लाइन पर पॉइंट पर इंटरसेक्ट करेगी. सो दिस पॉइंट विल रिप्रेजेंट रूट 2 ऑन नंबर लाइन. सो दिस इज हाउ वी रिप्रेजेंट रूट 2 ऑन नंबर लाइन. नाउ लेट अस कम टू द नेक्स्ट step, that is if someone wants to represent root 3 on number line, represent root 3 on number line, then again we have to do. Now there are two ways by which we can represent. The one is very simple, which we have done just now. Like if we use the same result of root 2, we can easily do it. Like take 0 to 1 is 1 unit and then draw one perpendicular of 1 unit, then this length will be root 2. Now if I draw one perpendicular on this hypotenuse, so it will come like this. We have to keep the length of this perpendicular as it is at 1 only. This length will be again 1. Now join this point with the 0 point and you will be surprised to know that this length will be root 3. Now let us come to this portion. Suppose I name it A, B, this is O and this is, let us call them ABC and D. Now come to this triangle ABC. In triangle ABC, here we have right angle at A, so hypotenuse will be BC. BC square will be equals to AC square plus AB square. Now look, the length of AC, which is hypotenuse in this ACD triangle, is root 2. So root 2 square plus AB is perpendicular, that we have taken is 1. So it is 2 plus 1. The square of square is always the number without square, that is we are getting root 2 square as 2. So finally we are getting BC square as 3. So we can clearly say root of BC square, square root of BC square will give us root 3. So we get BC is equals to root 3. So clearly the BC will come out to be root 3. Now again we will do the same here. What is that? We will be using this result. We will put a protractor at 0. We will measure this length and draw an arc like this, which will intersect at a point on the number line, and this point will be represented by root 3. So this is how